Is happiness a choice? The answer might surprise you. Have you ever met someone who seems unshaken by life's storms? No matter what happens, whether they lose their job, face heartbreak, or struggle financially, they somehow maintain a sense of calm and happiness. Ever wondered how they do it? Is happiness something we choose? Or are we at the mercy of our circumstances? Now, imagine this. You wake up one morning to a cascade of bad news. Your job is gone. Your relationship is falling apart. And your finances are in ruins. It feels like life is crumbling before your eyes. What would you do? Would you let despair take over? Or would you find a way to stay at peace? Buddhist philosophy offers a powerful perspective. Suffering doesn't come from the events themselves, but from how we respond to them. The way we think shapes our reality. Through specific teachings, we can train our minds to cultivate lasting happiness, regardless of external chaos. In this video, we're diving into 9 transformative Buddhist principles that can rewire your mindset and help you find joy, even in life's most difficult moments. These teachings have guided monks, scholars, and countless people toward inner peace, and they can do the same for you. Are you ready to unlock the secret to lasting happiness? Let's get started. 1. Impermanence. Anicca, nothing lasts forever. I used to struggle with change. I'd resist it, fight against it, and convince myself that certain things in life should remain the same. Relationships, career paths, even the way I saw myself. But no matter how much I wished for stability, life had other plans, and the more I resisted, the more I suffered. Then, I came across one of the core teachings of Buddhism, impermanence. Everything, our emotions, our struggles, our successes, is temporary. The more we accept this truth, the less power life's ups and downs have over us. The farmer's story, a lesson in letting go. Let me share a simple yet powerful story. There was once a wise farmer who had a beautiful horse. One day, the horse ran away. His neighbors came rushing over, saying, "What bad luck." But the farmer simply shrugged and replied, "Who knows if it's good or bad?" A few days later, the horse returned, this time with a group of wild horses following behind. The neighbors now exclaimed, "What great luck!" Again, the farmer responded, "Who knows?" Soon after, his son attempted to tame one of the wild horses and fell, breaking his leg. The neighbors shook their heads, saying, "What a tragedy!" But once more, the farmer remained calm. "Who knows?" Weeks later, soldiers arrived in the village to recruit all the young men for war. Because of his broken leg, the farmer's son was spared. The lesson? Nothing is inherently good or bad. Life is a series of unfolding events, constantly shifting in ways we cannot predict. The things we fear losing might lead us to something better, and what we see as a blessing today might turn into a challenge tomorrow. How this changed my perspective on life. I used to be terrified of losing things, relationships, job opportunities, stability. But looking back, the moments that felt like the end of the world were actually just the beginning of something greater. That heartbreak? It forced me to grow into someone stronger. That failed project? It redirected me to something more fulfilling. That period of uncertainty? It taught me that I don't need to control everything to be at peace. Impermanence doesn't mean we stop caring, it means we stop clinging. The more we fight change, the more we suffer. But when we embrace it, we find freedom. Practical ways to apply this in your life. Let go of attachment to outcomes. If something doesn't go your way, remind yourself, this is just a chapter, not the whole book. Reframe setbacks. Instead of seeing them as failures, ask yourself, what might this be teaching me? Start a gratitude journal. Every night, write down 3 things that changed in your life but ultimately helped you grow. Over time, you'll start viewing change not as loss, but as transformation. The truth is, nothing lasts forever, but that's not a reason to despair, it's a reason to live fully. Embracing each moment as it comes. 2. Karma, the law of cause and effect. Have you ever noticed that some people seem to attract endless misfortune while others effortlessly succeed? Is it just luck, or is there something deeper at play? Karma is often misunderstood as some mystical system of punishment and reward. But in reality, it's much simpler. It's the natural law of cause and effect. Everything we think, say, and do creates a ripple that shapes our reality. Imagine throwing a stone into a still lake. The ripples will inevitably spread, affecting everything in their path. Our actions work the same way. What we send out into the world, whether kindness, anger, generosity, or negativity, eventually comes back to us in some form. Oprah Winfrey's story, a real-life example of karma. One of the most inspiring examples of karma in action is Oprah Winfrey. Born into deep poverty, she faced unimaginable hardships, abuse, racism, and rejection. She could have easily given in to resentment, anger, or despair, but instead of becoming bitter, she chose to respond with kindness, generosity, and resilience. Instead of holding on to pain, she worked on healing herself and lifting others. Instead of letting discrimination define her, she used her voice to inspire change. Instead of focusing on what she didn't have, she focused on giving. Over time, the energy she put into the world came back to her, not as instant rewards, but as opportunities, meaningful connections, and ultimately, massive success. Oprah's journey proves that karma isn't about supernatural justice. It's about the seeds we plant through our actions, and how they inevitably grow into the life we live. How karma affects your daily life. Think about the times you've experienced karma firsthand. Have you ever snapped at someone in frustration, only to have a bad day unfold? Or maybe you helped someone out of kindness, and later, someone unexpectedly helped you in return. These aren't coincidences, they're the effects of the energy we put out. The truth is, we are always creating our future with the choices we make right now. If we plant negativity through gossip, anger, selfishness, we will eventually reap struggle and hardship. But if we plant patience, love, and integrity, we will see that reflected in our lives. Practical ways to use karma to your advantage. Before reacting in anger, pause. Ask yourself, what ripple effect will my words or actions create? A single moment of restraint can prevent unnecessary suffering. Practice intentional kindness, whether it's a simple smile, a compliment, or a helping hand. Small acts of goodness create waves of positive energy. Take responsibility for your energy. If you want a better life, start by improving what you put into the world. Your thoughts, words, and actions matter more than you think. Final thought. Karma isn't about fear or superstition, it's about empowerment. It means that no matter where you are in life, you always have the power to shape your future. The seeds you plant today will grow into the life you experience tomorrow. So the question is, what kind of energy are you putting into the world? 3. Attachment and suffering, dukkha, why holding on hurts you. Have you ever wanted something so badly that you couldn't imagine being happy without it? Maybe it was a person, a job, a dream, or even an ideal version of yourself. And then, life happened. You lost that thing, or it didn't go as planned. How did you feel? Heartbroken? Angry? Lost? Buddhism teaches that suffering isn't caused by the loss itself, but by our attachment to what we believe should stay the same. We cling to people, possessions, and outcomes, thinking they define us. But in reality, everything in life is fleeting. When we resist this truth, we create our own suffering. The businessman who lost everything. There was once a highly successful businessman who had built an empire from the ground up. He had wealth, power, and influence. But one night, due to an economic collapse, he lost everything. His fortune was gone. At first, he was devastated. His identity was tied to his wealth. Without it, he felt worthless. Depression consumed him, and for months, he couldn't see a way forward. Then, something shifted. He realized that his suffering wasn't just about losing money, it was about his attachment to being wealthy. His fear of failure, his need for external validation, his belief that money made him valuable, all of it was an illusion. Once he let go of that attachment, he felt a strange sense of freedom. He rebuilt his life, not chasing wealth, but chasing meaning. And this time, he found happiness not in what he had, but in who he became. How attachment causes suffering in everyday life. We don't have to lose a fortune to experience suffering caused by attachment. It happens in small ways. Every day, we hold on to relationships that have run their course. Even when they make us miserable, we fear letting go. We tie our self-worth to our job, our appearance, or our status. When these things change, as they inevitably will, we feel lost. We resist change because we crave certainty. But life is unpredictable, and clinging to control only brings frustration. How to let go and find freedom. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means releasing the illusion of control and finding peace with the present moment. Start small. Declutter your space. Get rid of items you no longer need. Notice how freeing it feels to detach from material things. Practice mental detachment. The next time something upsets you, ask yourself, am I suffering because of the event itself? Or because I refuse to accept it? Meditate on impermanence. Remind yourself that nothing lasts forever, neither pain nor pleasure. The more you accept this, the less power loss will have over you. Final thought. The tighter we hold on, the more we suffer. But when we release our grip on what we can't control, we open ourselves to true freedom. So ask yourself, what are you holding on to that is holding you back? 4. Acceptance. Finding peace in the uncontrollable. Have you ever found yourself caught in a battle with reality, wishing things were different? Resisting what is, or feeling trapped in frustration? We all did. We replay mistakes, dwell on unfairness, or resist changes we didn't ask for. But here's the truth. The more we fight reality, the more we suffer. Buddhism teaches that peace doesn't come from controlling life. It comes from accepting it as it is. That doesn't mean giving up or being passive. It means making peace with the present moment so we can move forward with strength. Nelson Mandela's story. A lesson in acceptance and power. Imagine spending 27 years in prison for a crime you didn't commit. How would you react? Would you drown in bitterness, anger, and regret? Many would. But Nelson Mandela chose a different path. While he had every reason to resent those who wrongfully imprisoned him, he made a powerful decision to accept his reality. Instead of being consumed by hate, he used his time to learn, reflect, and grow. Instead of wasting energy resisting what he couldn't change, he focused on what he could: his mind, his heart, his ability to forgive. Instead of seeing himself as a victim, he became a leader, even behind bars. When he was finally released, he didn't seek revenge. He sought reconciliation. His acceptance gave him the power to transform not just his own life, but the future of South Africa. How resistance creates suffering in our daily lives. We don't have to be imprisoned to experience the suffering caused by resistance. It happens every day. We get stuck in traffic and fume in frustration, wishing it wasn't happening. But no amount of wishing changes reality. We go through heartbreak and replay what could have been, instead of accepting what is. The past can't be rewritten. We resist aging, change, or uncertainty, clinging to the illusion of control. But life keeps moving, with or without our permission. How to cultivate acceptance and inner peace. Acceptance doesn't mean we like or agree with everything that happens. It means we stop fighting reality so we can respond with clarity. When facing difficulty, pause, take a deep breath and repeat, this moment is as it is. I choose peace. Notice how resisting the moment creates stress, while acceptance brings calm. Shift your focus from, why is this happening to me, to, how can I move forward? Acceptance is the first step toward wisdom and action. Let go of the illusion of control. Not everything is meant to go our way, and that's okay. True freedom comes when we stop demanding that life be different. Final thought. Suffering comes from wishing life were different. Peace comes from accepting life as it is. The choice is ours. So, what are you resisting right now? And what would happen if, just for a moment, you let go? 5. Mindfulness, the power of the present moment. Have you ever been physically present but mentally somewhere else? Maybe you were eating dinner but thinking about tomorrow's tasks. Or spending time with family but replaying a past mistake. This constant tug-of-war between the past and the future is what keeps many of us trapped in stress, anxiety, and regret. Buddhism teaches that most of our suffering doesn't come from what's happening now. It comes from our thoughts about the past or future. We replay conversations, worry about things we can't control, and miss the only moment that truly exists, the present. Mindfulness is the art of bringing our attention back to the now. When we learn to live fully in the present, we unlock a deeper sense of peace, clarity, and even joy. Steve Jobs' secret to creativity and focus. One of the most successful innovators of our time, Steve Jobs, was deeply influenced by Zen Buddhism. His ability to think differently and push boundaries came from his practice of mindfulness. He understood the power of deep focus, being fully present in his work rather than multitasking. He trained himself to see things clearly, rather than being caught up in distractions. He often spoke about the importance of beginner's mind, a Zen concept that encourages seeing life with fresh eyes. Free from assumptions, his mindfulness practice not only helped him create revolutionary products but also allowed him to navigate challenges with resilience. Imagine if you could bring this level of clarity and focus into your own life. How would your work, relationships, and happiness improve if you were truly present in each moment? How lack of mindfulness creates unnecessary suffering. Many of us live on autopilot, unaware of how much we're missing. We eat without tasting, meals become rushed, and we don't even remember what we ate. We listen without hearing, conversations happen, but we're distracted by our phones or our own thoughts. We react instead of responding. We let stress and irritation take over because we're too caught up in mental noise. Mindfulness isn't about sitting in meditation for hours. It's about bringing full awareness to whatever you're doing, right now. Practical ways to bring mindfulness into your daily life. Try mindful eating. The next time you eat, slow down. Notice the texture, the flavors, the aroma. Experience your meal instead of rushing through it. Pause before reacting. The next time something upsets you, take a deep breath. Ask yourself, am I reacting out of habit? Or am I fully present in this moment? Use your senses to anchor yourself in the now. If you feel overwhelmed, focus on what you can see, hear, and feel right now. This simple exercise pulls you out of overthinking and into reality. Final thought: the present moment is all we ever truly have. By practicing mindfulness, we don't just reduce stress, we rediscover the beauty of life itself. So, ask yourself, are you truly here? Or are you lost in your thoughts? The choice to be present is yours. 6. Transforming pain into wisdom. How to turn struggles into strength. Pain is a part of life. At some point, we all experience loss, disappointment, or heartbreak. But here's the truth: pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. Think about it. Two people can go through the same hardship. Yet one emerges stronger while the other remains trapped in misery. Why? The difference lies in their mindset. Buddhism teaches that pain itself doesn't create suffering, our resistance to pain does. When we stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what can I learn from this? Pain becomes a teacher instead of an enemy. Viktor Frankl's story, Finding Meaning in the Unimaginable. If anyone had a reason to drown in suffering, it was Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor. He lost his entire family, endured years of starvation, and witnessed unspeakable cruelty in Nazi concentration camps. Yet, amidst all that suffering, he made a remarkable realization. Even in the worst conditions, we still have one ultimate freedom, the power to choose our mindset. While others fell into despair, he focused on finding meaning in his suffering. He imagined a future where he could teach others how to overcome hardship. Instead of letting pain break him, he turned it into wisdom and went on to write Man's Search for Meaning, one of the most powerful books on resilience ever written. Frankl's story proves that we don't always control what happens to us, but we always control how we respond. Pain doesn't have to destroy us, it can shape us into someone wiser, stronger, and more compassionate. How we unknowingly make our pain worse. Pain is a natural part of life, but suffering is a choice. We often make things harder on ourselves without realizing it. We replay painful memories. Instead of moving forward, we relive the hurt over and over. We resist reality. We refuse to accept what has happened, creating endless frustration. We identify with our pain. Instead of seeing pain as temporary, we make it part of who we are. But what if, instead of fighting pain, we embraced it as a teacher? What if every hardship held a hidden lesson, waiting to be discovered? How to transform pain into wisdom. Shift your question. The next time life feels unfair, don't ask, why is this happening to me? Instead, ask, what can this teach me? See struggles as growth opportunities. Every great leader, thinker, and survivor has faced adversity. Your pain could be shaping you into someone even stronger. Find purpose in hardship. Use your experience to help others, just as Viktor Frankl did. When you turn pain into purpose, suffering loses its grip on you. Final thought: we can't avoid pain, but we can decide what to do with it. Will it break you, or will it build you? The choice is yours. So, think about the hardest challenge you faced. What lesson did it leave behind? Maybe your greatest struggle is actually your greatest gift in disguise. 7. Letting go brings freedom. How releasing control sets you free. Have you ever carried something for so long that you forgot what life felt like without it? Maybe it's a past mistake, a painful memory, a grudge, or an expectation of how things should be. The truth is, we often hold on to things long after they stopped serving us. Buddhism teaches that clinging, whether to people, emotions, or even ideas, is what keeps us stuck. We mistake attachment for strength, but real strength comes from knowing when to let go. When we release what no longer serves us, we don't lose anything, we gain freedom. Eckhart Tolle, Letting Go of Thought and Finding Peace. Eckhart Tolle, the author of The Power of Now, wasn't always the calm, enlightened teacher we know today. In his early years, he was deeply unhappy, constantly trapped in negative thoughts and worries. His mind was his worst enemy, reliving the past, fearing the future, and questioning everything. One night, at the peak of his suffering, he had a realization. The voice in his head, the constant worry, regret, and fear, was not him. It was just thoughts. And the moment he let go of his attachment to them, everything changed. He stopped identifying with the pain of the past. He let go of his need for control. He embraced the present moment fully. That shift brought him peace. And today, his teachings inspire millions around the world. His story is proof that sometimes, the only thing standing between us and happiness is our own unwillingness to let go. How holding on creates suffering in our daily lives. We all do this without realizing it. We hold on to grudges. We think it punishes the other person, but it only keeps us trapped in anger. We hold on to expectations. We want life, people, and relationships to go a certain way. And when they don't, we feel disappointed. We hold on to old identities. We define ourselves by past failures or roles we've outgrown, afraid to embrace change. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting or giving up. It means making peace with what was, so we can embrace what is. How to start letting go and find freedom. Ask yourself, what am I holding on to that no longer serves me? Maybe it's an old argument, an expectation, or a self-doubt that no longer fits who you are. Write a release letter. If something is weighing you down, pain from the past, an unresolved feeling, write it down and then tear it up. Let it go physically and mentally. Practice the lightness test. When making a decision, ask, does this make me feel lighter or heavier? If something is weighing you down, it might be time to let it go. Final thought. Letting go isn't about loss, it's about making space for peace, joy, and new beginnings. So, take a deep breath and ask yourself, what would happen if I finally let go? You might just find the freedom you've been searching for. 8. Your perspective shapes your reality. Change your mindset. Change your life. Have you ever noticed how two people can experience the same event but react completely differently? One person sees failure, while another sees opportunity. One feels trapped, while another feels free. The difference isn't in what happened, it's in how they see it. Buddhism teaches that reality isn't just about external events, it's about our perception of those events. When we shift our perspective, we shift our entire experience of life. The power of perspective, a job loss that changed a life. Imagine two people lose their jobs on the same day. Person A sees it as a disaster. They feel like a failure, blame themselves, and spiral into negativity. Person B sees it as a new chapter. They view it as a push towards something better, perhaps a fresh career, a new passion, or a long overdue change. The event is exactly the same, but the experience is completely different because of mindset. Years later, person A is still stuck in bitterness, while person B has built a new, fulfilling career. The reality they created came from the perspective they chose. So, what story are you telling yourself about your challenges? How perspective shapes everyday life. Our minds naturally default to negative interpretations. We assume the worst, dwell on problems, and see obstacles instead of possibilities. But with a conscious shift, we can train ourselves to see growth where we once saw struggle. A breakup isn't just heartbreak, it's a chance to rediscover yourself. A failure isn't just a setback, it's feedback for a better future. A stressful challenge isn't just an obstacle, it's the training ground for strength. When we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. Practical ways to reframe your mindset. Catch yourself in negative thinking. The next time you say, "Why is this happening to me?" stop and ask, "What is this teaching me?" Practice, "What if this is a gift?" thinking. When something goes wrong, ask yourself, what if this is leading me somewhere better? Keep a reframing journal. Write down a challenge and find 3 positive perspectives on it. This trains your mind to see opportunity where it once saw obstacles. Final thought. The world is not just what happens to you, it's how you choose to see it. So, ask yourself, are you looking at life through the lens of problems or possibilities? Your answer will shape your future. 9. Happiness is a choice, not a destination. The secret to lasting joy. Most people spend their lives chasing happiness like it's a place they'll eventually arrive at. I'll be happy when I get that job. I'll be happy when I find the right partner. I'll be happy when I make more money. But have you ever noticed that when you finally achieve those things, happiness often feels temporary? That's because happiness isn't found somewhere out there, it's created from within. Buddhism teaches that happiness is not a destination, it's a choice we make every single day. Michael Jordan's story, the mindset that created a legend. Imagine being a young basketball player, dreaming of greatness, only to get cut from your high school team. Many would take that as a sign to give up. But Michael Jordan didn't. Instead of letting failure define him, he used it as fuel. He chose to see the setback as motivation. He chose to train harder than anyone else. He chose to believe in himself, even when others doubted him. That mindset shaped his future. He didn't wait for happiness to come after success. He built success by choosing the right attitude every day. And the result? He became one of the greatest athletes of all time. This proves a powerful truth. Happiness isn't given to us. It's something we cultivate through the choices we make. How daily choices shape your happiness. Happiness isn't about having a perfect life. It's about how you show up for the life you have. You don't have to wait for things to change to feel grateful. Start appreciating the small joys already present. You don't have to wait for success to feel fulfilled. Find meaning in the process, not just the outcome. You don't have to wait for others to be kind first. Choose to be kind, and happiness will naturally follow. Practical ways to choose happiness every day. Practice gratitude. Every morning, write down 3 things you're thankful for. This rewires your brain to focus on the positive. Be mindful of your thoughts. When negativity creeps in, ask yourself, is this thought helping or hurting my happiness? Give happiness to others. Acts of kindness, whether a smile, a compliment, or helping someone, create joy not just for them, but for you too. Final thought. Happiness isn't something you find in the future, it's something you create right now. So, what will you choose today? Gratitude or complaint? Hope or doubt? Kindness or resentment? Every choice shapes your experience of life. The secret to happiness isn't waiting for better circumstances, it's choosing a better mindset. Final reflection. How will you embrace these teachings? Happiness isn't something we stumble upon, it's something we cultivate. It's not hidden in wealth, status, or external achievements, but within our perspective, our choices, and our mindset. So take a moment. Which of these teachings resonated with you the most? Was it the power of impermanence? The freedom of letting go? The realization that happiness is a choice, not a destination? More importantly, how will you apply this wisdom in your own life? True transformation begins with small steps, shifting your mindset, practicing gratitude, embracing change, and letting go of what no longer serves you. The journey to inner peace starts right now. Share your thoughts in the comments. Which lesson spoke to you the most? And how will you start applying it today? If you found this message valuable, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more insights on mindfulness, personal growth, and the path to lasting happiness. Thank you for being part of this journey. Until next time, may you walk your path with peace, wisdom, and joy.